you need to eat before and you need to eat immediately after your training. I think that's complete bullshit.
Hello, carnivores, and welcome to session number 39. Today, Mark and I will address some listener questions on pre- and post-workout nutrition and workout frequency, and then we will get into injuries because I'm pretty banged up from last weekend's outdoor hockey tournament in Lewistown, Montana. Before we get into the meat, here is our Spotify podcast review of the week. It is from Susie Banuelos from California, United States. She says, "Great conversation. I love all three coaches' input on what works and what doesn't." That was in response to session number 22, How to Become a Successful Online Coach. I think that you pretty much stole the show on that one too, pal. Thank you very much for the review, Susie. The best coaches always have coaches that they consult with personally too. We are all learning. Plans fail when there is no counsel, but with many advisors they succeed. That is Proverbs 15:22. What's the story, pal? How you been lately?
How are you, sir? How's the body? How's the body today? All good?
My left leg is still good for the most part, and the left arm is still good. Other than that, we won't talk about how the rest of the body feels. Yeah, no. So hockey is a contact sport. To start and stop, to turn on a dime. I mean, all the stuff that I used to do before I weighed 200 and what was I this morning? 211 pounds. Was a lot easier back then. And so,
Yeah.
yep. First game tore my hamstring and my adductor within the first two shifts because I'm just not used to that many explosive movements, right? You and I have been talking about this a lot. I've been training legs 3 days a week. Most of our athletes are training legs 3 days a week. Been seeing some great leg growth. Really happy about it. And so I should have known better. I just knew that those muscles would be too tight. It was also below zero. So that also may have factored into a little bit. And then I don't know how it happened. I didn't get into a fight, but lots of skirmishes and definitely sprained my wrist. I know that it's not a fracture. I know that nothing's like seriously broken with it because there's no colored like deformation. It's still it just hurts. There's a lot of sharp pain around it, but I can still it's still pretty well functional. So anyway, we'll get into that on the injury topic because I totally worked around it today or figured out how to work around it. But do you want to get into listener questions?
Yep. So I got a listener question today of a
Yep.
David Crawford, and he was asking me basically when it comes to exercise. I just have it here in a second. Yeah, he's asking how often should we work out?
How often should we work out? Very, very good question. Do you know if he's a beginner or is he a bodybuilder? Like, what is he? What's his backstory?
So he's only literally just getting into the gym at the moment. So he's a 42-year-old beginner. He's never trained in the gym. He's coming from a sporting background. So he's done boot camps and he's done plenty of sports in the past, but he's never been actually in a gym environment.
Okay, I think you'll do a better job of answering this question, but I'll do my best. All right. So our new client, Dominique Young from Maryland, she is. If the name sounds familiar, it's because she has quite a large YouTube ministry called Faith Family Worldwide. I've been a part of it for a while, and so some of our clients. Very high energy, and so we've actually been a fan of this lady for quite a while. But we're doing her workout. So she's a beginner, and so we have her doing legs on Mondays.
Yeah.
On Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, she is. Oh, you and I talked through this. This is the one that you kind of helped me put together too, pal. Um, so she's walking on the days where she's not lifting, and then when she is lifting, it's about 30 to 40, 45 minutes. I told her this morning, I was like, if you're in there for more than 45 minutes, then that's too long of a workout. She went a little bit longer than that because she had to like figure out where the machines were, but she knows that ideally she should be not working out for longer than 30 to 45 minutes at the absolute max. She's not going to failure on any of these exercises. She's doing pretty much 10 to 15 reps per body part, no matter what the body part is.
Mhm.
for the most part, with some exceptions. And so her mission is to do as many reps as she can until she feels like she could only do about 5 or 6 more, and then just be done with it at that point. She's not going anywhere close to failure. Also postpartum, and so we're being really sensitive about her abs. So I have her starting on 5 or 10 minute warm up of an incline walk, and then she's doing a superset, an activation superset of adductions and abductions, 3 sets of 15 on both of those. And then she has a pump superset of leg extensions and then prone hamstring curls. So these are all isolation exercises so far. Her only compound lift comes right after that. It's a straight set of 3 sets of 15 unilateral leg presses, and then she's finishing with 3 sets of 10 dumbbell step ups. And I told her if she's gassed before those last couple, then don't even worry about doing them. Just make sure that you give all those first exercises up to the unilateral leg press the best bang for their buck, and do what you can there. And then the next week, add in the dumbbell step ups there. So there is a little bit of intuition that comes along with this. So that's her leg day. Pretty basic. And then her next day is shoulders and chest. And so her warm up is essentially the same, but I said that you could use an elliptical or a rower or something to warm up your upper body. Might want to do that instead, whatever your gym has access to. And so her activation tricep, standing side lateral raises, strict, and then cable press downs with a reverse grip so she can hit the lateral head of her triceps, and then banded external shoulder rotations to keep her rotator cuff nice and safe, get that warm. So then she's got a pump superset after that. She's supersetting shoulder presses with curls. That's actually her only bicep exercise. Somebody new to the gym, I mean, I think that biceps are kind of a waste of time. Like, why would you need to isolate biceps? I have her doing 2 sets of biceps just because I'm a bodybuilding coach, and I feel like it's incomplete if she's not doing a little bit of it. It'll give her a little bit of a pump for her shoulder presses too. Okay. And then her stretch set that she's ending with is actually going to be her only chest exercise, which is dumbbell low incline presses. So then back day, starting on the treadmill again, just for a warm up, basically on there just until she breaks a sweat. Her activation superset is wide grip pull downs, bent over laterals, and so she's working her lats and her rear deltoids between sets. This is actually the only workout where I have her going heavier on. For training by yourself, and if you're a beginner, you can go heavier on your back. I would be hesitant before starting to get too crazy on legs and on pressing too much weight with your upper body. But the back is made mostly of fast twitch fibers. And so my entire goal with anybody on a good back workout is to get lots of blood into the muscle, but also make sure that there's some heavier weights in there too. And so the way I like to do that is to just use pyramid sets. And so she's going to start with 15 reps on pull downs, and then 12 reps, and then 8 reps. 8 reps is great for back development because it's just enough reps to get enough blood into the muscle, but it's also a low enough amount of a rep range to be able to actually use some heavy weight, which is what lats typically respond pretty well to. And so then after that, she just has 3 straight sets, which are going to be seated cable rows with a neutral grip. That's going to hit everything on the back. Here, same thing again, 15, 12, 8, and then 15, 12, 8 with lawn mowers too. Lawn mowers are what we grew up calling single arm dumbbell rows because like you feel like you're pulling the pull string of a lawnmower to start it basically. So that's her entire workout, pal. You think that she's going to get injured off of that? Or you think that's pretty basic and something that she'll be able to handle?
I would say it's pretty much fine. The way I see it is if she's able to recover in between her days and she's coming back to you and she's saying, okay, Colt, I'm getting really, really strong. I feel good. And the most important thing is she's enjoying her workouts. If she's enjoying her workouts, then everything in my head is going really, really right. If she comes back to you and says, my bones are sore, my muscles are sore, I'm not enjoying my workouts, I'm not sleeping properly, I'm not eating properly, then obviously it's down to the training. The volume of the training is too high. But from what you said to me, I think it's very, very good. I think it's perfect for a beginner. I'm glad you mentioned the full body routine. I think that's essential when it comes to somebody that's only starting the gym. So we're going back to what the guy asked. When we look at training, I think it's very, very important that when you walk into the gym, especially as a beginner, don't be overawed. Don't be thinking about, okay, what other people are doing. Just go
Yeah.
in and lift the weight and lift it correctly. Okay. I think I made that mistake when I walked into the gym a long time ago. I thought I was going into the gym and I thought of, okay, if he can lift the weight, that much weight, I can do that. That's the worst thing you can do. Go into the gym, make sure you maintain proper form, because the one thing you don't want to get, especially if you're only a beginner, is getting injured.
Yeah.
And I'll go back to what I just mentioned a few minutes ago. I really do believe that the key for a beginner to start in the gym, there's two things. You want to make sure that you're doing a full body routine. The reason why you're doing a full body routine more often and more frequently is because you're hitting the body, you're hitting a muscle part more times throughout the week. So Colt is hitting his legs 3 times a week at the moment, but he's only doing low volume. He's probably only doing 1 or 2 exercises for his legs. For a beginner, you'd be doing the exact same thing. You'd be only doing like 1 exercise pretty much for your legs, and then probably 1 exercise for your chest, 1 exercise for your shoulders. And the more you do that, the more easy the workout's going to be. So you'll get used to lifting. The
Right.
second important thing when it comes to training is you must be able to enjoy your workouts. If you don't enjoy your
For sure.
workouts, then there will be times you're waking up out of bed and you're going to be asking yourself, why am I going training today? Where
Yeah.
you're waking up out of bed and you're excited to train, it's going to be a different thing. So if you feel like you need to rely on, let's just say, caffeine to get you through a workout, there's obviously something wrong there. You
Yep.
need to make sure you enjoy your workouts, and it's very important that you progress in your workouts. Also, you don't want to just go into the gym and lift away from A to B. You want to make sure that you look after your workouts on a week to week basis, because that's the only way you're going to know you're progressing.
Yeah, 100%. And then once you start getting advanced in your training, there's a lot of different directions that you can go with it. There's high volume training. There's benefits to that. There's low volume training. I think there's way more benefits to that, which is why I'm a fan of it, and that's why that's all that we teach. Here's a little bit more of an advanced split. This is one that I wrote for David Mensarini. He's doing men's physique, and he is on a strict carnivore diet as well. Okay, so he's doing legs on Monday, and then he's doing back and chest, and then he's doing shoulders, arms, and abs, and then he's repeating them all again. So he's doing a 6-day split. Okay, so the split is very so the split is very similar, but it's just more frequency throughout the week. So his workouts are actually quite about the same time, right? So here we have an advanced athlete that is training twice as much as a beginner. Most athletes that I know most advanced athletes that I know train way more than what is typically recommended for a beginner. Okay.
Yeah.
So most of the advanced athletes that come to us, they're surprised because they're like, this is all that I'm doing. And I'm like, yeah. And if that's what you're saying, after 30 or 45 minutes of working out, you're not training hard enough in those first 30 to 45 minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
So he knows that. And this is new. This is new for everybody. This is new for me still, kind of, to a degree. But I feel like I've really mastered it the last couple months, especially after training with you personally in Body Shop. But anyway, you know what? Yeah, okay. Before I go into David's plan, actually, I wanted to tell you this. I was just kind of curious what your thoughts are. But bodybuilding seems to me to be more of an art than it is a sport.
Mhm.
And when you learn anything, when you learn an art or when you learn a skill, as many different ways as you can get it into your head, the better. So,
Yeah.
how do we learn how to work out? Videos, reading, podcast, video chat, phone, in person. So you and I had been working mainly over video up until that point and verbally. And so having you train me in person and show me what that intensity looks like and how you should be feeling after 30 minutes of training legs, that took my understanding to a completely different level of what low volume, high intensity training really is. It's the same thing as Abraham Lincoln. Why he used to always read out loud. He would read out loud because he's saying something, he's hearing it, and he's seeing the words at the same time. So that's like 3 different ways that information is getting into his head. So when
Yeah.
So when you read Arnold Schwarzenegger's bodybuilding encyclopedia, okay, that just gets all this stuff into your head in one way. Or when you read, like, let's take someone that's like actually more our style training, Mike Metzer, Vince Gironda, right? You read a book by one of those old school legends, you understand like 25% of it. You understand, you see like 25% of the big picture, right? I'm just throwing out a hypothetical number, and then you watch videos, okay, that puts it into your brain in a different way. Now you have a new understanding, and now you're realizing things about your own training, your own body that you didn't notice before. Okay, when you read a book, same thing. When you listen to a podcast, same thing. I think that the audio aspect of it and the verbal aspect of it is something that you and I have really gotten better at working together with over the last year, because I'm not really training anybody in person anymore. And so I'm like, all right, how can I think of as many different analogies as I possibly can to explain what it looks to what it feels like to hit true failure. And if you're listening right now, and if you're not subscribed to our other show, the supersetyourlife.com podcast, Mark and I taught a class called Mind Inside Muscle Masterclass, and that's pretty much what we did for an hour and a half. I think we've gotten more positive reviews on that one than like any of our episodes since 200, by the way. But this is a topic that we could probably just have an entire show dedicated towards, is what it feels like to get to muscle failure. I think that it's more of a feeling than it is actually looking at scientifically what's happening with weight. My entire workout today, like my eyes were closed pretty much the entire time, just like yours are. So that's the mentality that I'm trying to help David understand with these workouts. And so far he's doing great with them. But his first workout is legs, and so he's doing basically what you walked me through at Body Shop. Very, very similar, right? This is about a 35 minute workout. He's starting with prone hamstring curls, and then he's got leg presses after that, machine Bulgarian split squats for the quads, and then dumbbell stiff leg deadlifts, lying hip abductions, and then seated calf raises. I don't have him going super hard or super heavy on legs or doing a lot of compound lifts, because he is in the men's physique category. And so I pride myself on the fact that all of the men's physique athletes that we've ever put on stage, they always train legs. I can't say it about other men's physique competitors, but we are bodybuilders, not upper bodybuilders. Amen. So then he's got back and chest day. He's hitting his rear deltoids first, and then he's doing straight single arm pull downs. And then he's doing incline bench pull downs. And so he's basically working his lower lats the entire time there. Then he's doing the one that you taught me for his upper back, the seated cable row, where you're bent over and kind of shrugging on that one. I have him doing it with an easy bar though. And then we're doing seated cable rows with a neutral grip. So he's hitting basically everything, with particularly the mid back though. And then dumbbell low incline presses with alternating reps. That is his main chest exercise. And then I guess we don't need to go through the entire shoulder and arm workout, but it's pretty much all isolation exercises for all of those body parts. And then he's doing a 30 to 35 minute weightlifting split, which is a 3-day split 2 times, so 6 days a week. And I find that's pretty typical. Most exceptional bodybuilders that I know, most highly competitive bodybuilders, it seems to be pretty standard. It's push, pull legs, rest. Push, pull legs, rest.
I think that's good. But as I said at the beginning, if he's recovering and he's getting stronger and he's progressing, then by all means let him keep doing it. But if he's stalling and he's not getting stronger in the gym, well, that's a sign then he's just overtraining. So at the end of the day, everybody's different. Everybody's recovery capabilities are completely different. So if it works for him, by all means keep it in.
Yeah. And it's quite a significant reduction in the volume that he was doing before too. So from here through the rest of his prep, it's just going to be removing the volume a little bit and not adding any more cardio in unless we absolutely have to, and just let the diet do all the work.
Absolutely. That's all you need to do. And it's amazing because people will actually see, especially as I went through my show, when I look at what I did, I was in such a comfortable spot on that stage, but I felt strong. I felt really, really strong. But compared to what I did in the past, so much cardio, all this rubbish. Where now we're well educated to learn that okay, it's got nothing to do with that anymore. It's just about eating properly, maintaining form in the gym, maintaining strength in the gym, and you will look amazing on stage.
Yeah, 100%. Very, very good. One last thing on that. I wish that most people would. I wish that competitors would realize. Look, but by the end of your prep, most competitors are keto or carnivore anyway. By that point, okay, it's like you're so close.
Yeah,
Just bite the bullet.
yeah,
Do it at the start of your prep, and then just see if you can do your entire prep without any cardio. You'll come in fuller. You won't be the guy that's starving leading up to your show, having to cut water and try to do and try to mess around with all these tricks. No, just go carnivore, go keto at the start of your prep. Focus on your metabolism. Focus on your digestion. See how much you can optimize that, and just see what that does to your body. I think that you'll be feeling better. I think that you'll be less hungry. I think that you'll be fuller. I think that you'll be looking better. I think you'll be harder. I think you'll be drier. I think you'll be retaining less water. I don't know. That's a lot of claims, but
yeah.
that's what I see happen every single time.
Hey everyone, Coach Taylor Milton here. Welcome to Skullbellz TV, the official YouTube channel of supersetyourlife.com, where you're going to discover a weekly upload of quick and easy to follow workout tutorials featuring Coach Colt, myself, or one of our athletes to keep your workouts fun, practical, and effective. Our family's latest keto carnivore recipes that fuel Colt's competitions and keep myself and our kiddos strong and healthy. Video uploads of the supersetyourlife.com podcast, now over 100 episodes. Your weekly dose of entertainment, education, and inspiration to fuel your life inside and beyond the gym, and much more. Last thing before we get into the video, we're asking a big favor from you. This has been working beautifully, so if you would please think of someone you care about that would benefit from this video, go ahead and smash that like button, click the share button, and text this video to them. That would mean the world to us. And while you're at it, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss more exciting content from Skullbellz TV, because our team has lots of meat and lots of muscle coming your way, and I promise you won't want to miss it. When you hit the subscribe button, you'll see a bell icon pop up. You want to click that too so you're notified every time we release a new video. Thank you so much for the support. It means the world to us. Every like, share, and subscription helps our channel grow and supports our family's hard work. So thank you so much for doing your part too. That's all we ask. God bless you, and please enjoy this video.
So we got a question on pre and post workout nutrition from what I understand.
So I got another question today, and basically what they were asking was, when it comes to nutrition, how do we base it around pre and post workout?
Okay. I'm really excited to hear what you have to say, because I think you do a better job at teaching this. My general rule of thumb is to have meal timing be the last thing on your mind, because all that usually goes out the window when you make the switch to carnivore anyway, right? I don't know. I feel like half the people that come to me have been carnivore for a while. They're on it because they have an autoimmune issue or something, and so they usually know more about why you should be on the carnivore diet than I do. Those kind of people make great athletes. When someone's going from a standard American diet straight into carnivore, my entire goal is to get them either as close to lion as I can, or as close to BEBB as I can, or BEBBIS, which is Dr. Kiltz's version, which is bacon, eggs, beef, butter, and ice cream. The ice cream just means live a little bit, have some fun, go off your plan once in a while. It's not going to kill you. That's basically his way of saying that. And so that's kind of the place that I try to get somebody towards. And if you're going from a standard American diet where you're having snacks throughout the day, you're eating about 5 meals a day. When you make the switch to carnivore, a lot changes in your gut, in your brain. Your entire body changes. Like, you feel like a new person, and you kind of are in some ways. Like physically, you are different. And so that usually results into them only wanting to eat 1 and 2 or sometimes 3 meals a day, maybe on the high end. And I find that a properly executed meat-based diet, it has everything that you need to build muscle. Now, the only exception that I would, and so you finish your workout, and in my opinion, That for 99% of all practical purposes, it does not matter when your meals are after that. But within the next 24 to 48 hours, if you want to build muscle, make sure that you're getting protein in, and make sure that you're getting 1 gram per pound of your lean body weight at least, and more if you're trying to build muscle faster. You don't want to go crazy on your protein, because then that'll cause too much too much demand to be on your digestive system, right? So then your body starts thinking of protein as being recovery and all the other things that protein should be used for, but also for fuel. But protein is a very inefficient source of fuel. And so if you're an athlete using a meat-based diet, the trick is to always find ways to have higher fat. That's kind of the thing that makes the lion diet a little bit challenging if you're an athlete, is to get those is to get the fats in there, because you can't do butter on the lion diet. So your options are basically tallow, and the fattiest kinds of meat that you can get from those types of ruminant animals. Anyway, that's generally my goal, is to get somebody that direction. And it doesn't have to be perfect overnight. Sometimes it just means that we're starting with taking out bread and taking out 2 other things. Oh my God, but I love fruit and I love oatmeal. Okay, keep fruit in and keep oatmeal in, but just cut out the processed stuff and anything that has phytic acids and lectins and the foods that are really damaging your gut. And then after you've lost 5 or 10 pounds, we can start thinking about where to go after that. In terms of meal timing around your workout, if you do have carbs in your diet, that's where they should go. Of course, my goal for anybody is to always not have carbs in your diet. But if it's something that you're just going to do, and you're like, hey, I love my carbs, I feel better on my carbs, I look forward to my oatmeal, I look forward to my banana after the workout. Hey, okay, whatever it is, great. But put it pre-workout and post-workout, and keep it as clean as you can, obviously. And then the only other exception is if somebody is a really hard gainer. Like if you're just one of those people that really struggles to put on muscle. I find very, 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 very few people that are truly hard gainers. Most people are just really impatient. I am not a hard gainer at all. I build muscle just fine as long as I get good workouts in, and I make sure that I'm hitting my protein requirements. I'm getting plenty of water. I'm getting sleep, and I'm giving them a chance to and I'm giving them rest. If I'm checking off all those 4 boxes, that's all that I've ever seen that anybody needs to build muscle. If you're somebody though that is you're just a hard gainer, like you struggle to eat enough food. Okay, if you're at a point to where you're stuck and like nothing else is working, yeah, okay, add some carbs in, have them pre-workout and post-workout, and then have your protein after your workout. The carbs aren't going to help you build muscle any faster, but that protein and that insulin spike immediately after your workout, that's really going to help. And then try to spread out your protein throughout the day as much as you can. Otherwise, here again, I'm not a hard gainer. I could live my entire life on 1 or 2 meals a day and probably not suffer any significant amount of muscle loss because of my meal timing. I'm doing just fine on 1 or 2 meals a day. And I can count on one hand the amount of people that I've had that actually need to have their protein spread out throughout the entire day. Other than that, I wouldn't worry about it. I would say crush your workouts, do something that you enjoy, make sure that you're consistent with it, and make sure that you're meeting your protein requirements. Outside of that, go by your intuition. What are your thoughts on that, pal?
Yeah, I would agree with everything you just said. Everything. The only thing I would add in there is, when we, first of all, let's demonize the elephant in the room, and this is the whole process of you need to eat before and you need to eat immediately after your training. I think that's complete bullshit. I think that's been proven for decades that it's about pretty much what you eat for the rest of the day is what matters. It's your overall consumption of food, of what you eat, is what's actually going to get you results. The only caveat I would say for me personally is, when I'm taking on people, I always make sure, if they can, to have a meal before training or have a meal the night before. The reason why I do that is because I want to make sure this is the most important part of the workout. The most important part of the workout is to build muscle. Now, I understand when we fast, you can raise your what to call it, what's the word I'm looking for?
Your growth hormone?
Yeah, your growth hormone. I understand you can do that, but I also believe that when you feed your body, you actually get the best results from what I've seen. Now, how long should you be eating before? There are a lot of people that can wake up in the morning and train, and I have no issues with that whatsoever. So, if you're having a good meal the night before, let's say about 2 hours before you go to bed, and you wake up the next day and you're full, then you can go and train. By all means, do it. Now, can you do that on the standard 6 meals a day? Yes, you can, but it's going to be a little bit harder. But you can do a lot more on carnivore and keto because it's going to be higher protein and it's going to be higher fat. So it's going to keep you fuller for longer. So you're not going to be at 8 to 3 meals a day. So if you have like a standard 1 meal a day at nighttime, that could keep you going for a long, long time the next day. So it just depends on the individual. But if you're going to let's say, like Colt mentioned, you're a hard gainer and you're struggling to get the food in. Well, obviously, you can't get all that food in one meal. You're gonna be struggling to get like 200 grams of protein in one meal. It's gonna be very, very hard. So I would say you want to be spacing your meals out to say 3 or 4. And when Colt mentions the gut is very, very important, guys, because if you're eating a lot of food, it will have an effect on your gut. And if your gut has been affected, that's going to have an effect on your brain. And if digestion is not good, I don't care how good you are in the gym, your performance is going to take a major, major hit because digestion controls everything. And if your gut is not on point, you're going to struggle. So it just
Yep.
comes down to, what do you want to achieve? Do you want to, are you going into the gym to get big, to build muscle, to lose weight? It comes down to what is your preference. So when people say, what's the best time to eat? Do I eat before or after training? It just comes down to the individual and what your goals are.
Yeah. And I'm 100% guessing that this person is concerned about their body composition, meaning they want to have muscle, but they don't want to have fat, right? Because like if I'm talking to someone that's like, hey, I want to put on 30 pounds so that I can be a better lineman on my college football team, then it's like, okay, then throw half of what we said out the window, and yeah, eat as much food as you possibly can, like throughout the day, man. Like you just need to gain weight, all right? Eat weights, excuse me, eat weights, eat lots of food, eat lots of protein, and lift lots of weights. Um, but like generally speaking, though, if you're listening and someone's telling you that you need 30 grams of protein immediately after your workout, or you wasted half of your workout, okay, wherever they are backing wherever they are backing that claim from, if they're backing it with anything, look at who's funding those studies. I think you'll be surprised. It's probably funded by XYZ protein supplement company, because I'm not aware of any scientific evidence that says that immediately after your workout you have to have protein. I'm just not aware of it. I'm not. I don't have an appetite after my workout. Growing up, I never had an appetite after hard hockey games. But the next day, I'm usually ravenous, or like that night, I'm usually ravenous. All right. I think that's your body's way of telling you, hey, I'm in a sympathetic state. Right. I'm in a sympathetic state right now. I'm under a lot of stress. All right. Because like thinking, primally speaking, that was the kind of case. Like you kill an animal, and I mean your entire body's under stress. You just killed an animal. Hunting is a hardship, right? And so you bring it back to your tent or whatever, and then cook it, and you're going to eat it later when you can actually relax. I don't know. That's probably how they did it back in hunting and gathering days. That's what makes the most sense to me. All I know is after my workouts, I'm not particularly hungry, but later in the day, I'm ravenous. And when you're in a parasympathetic state, your digestion is a lot smoother than when you're moving and doing phone calls and working and kind of hustling throughout the day.
100%. I couldn't agree more. When you work out, the last thing you want to be thinking about is food, because I don't know about you, but I know for me, when I train really, really hard, my stomach is like a washing machine. If I put food in there, it's not going to digest properly. I'm going to feel like crap. If anything, I probably need a nap after training, because I'm after literally going in, taxing the body, hitting the body hard. So I want to go home and I just want to relax. If I'm going home and I'm doing what other people are saying, that okay, this is the anabolic window, you need to get a protein shake in, all this rubbish, that's just going to mess up my digestion, and then that will have an impact on what I eat for the rest of the day.
Yep. Can I tell you what my pre-workout shake used to be when I back one of the days where I was just a new bodybuilder, didn't know any better, and just went on bodybuilding.com and was just doing what all the articles said to do?
Go ahead.
First of all, I didn't realize that every single one of these people is on steroids. You find that stuff out later. I don't know. Sometimes ignorance is bliss, though, because I was like, "Oh, that's so achievable naturally, right?" So after my workouts, I was, this was on bodybuilding.com that I was told to do this, and so I blended up all my oats, a banana, a bunch of blueberries, and a bunch of milk, and a scoop of protein powder. So I don't know. It's like
before or after your workout?
this is a post-workout shake.
Wow.
That I had ready to go with ice cubes in my gym locker. And so at the second that I finished my last rep of bench press, and we don't teach bench press anymore because that's not a good chest exercise, but that's a different conversation for a different day. Actually, we already did. Go back to our chest episode. I think it's like I think it was session like number 14 or 15. But as soon as I was done, like literally as soon as I was done with my last rep, like I would go directly to the locker room, you can't let the protein sit in the protein shake because then it gets disgusting. So you have to have the protein in a bag, right? Everything else is mixed up, blended, ready to go. All right. You put that sucker in there and a whole bunch of dextrose, literally just straight off of Amazon. Dextrose, like it looks like cocaine. I don't know. I've never done cocaine, but like I'm pretty sure it looks like cocaine because it's just like a white powder. and so I'd put a bunch of that in there. I'd try to get 300 or 400 grams of carbs in if I could. And yeah, I did it like post workout. I mean, just like everybody said, and I got super fat doing that. And then when I went carnivore, it just you just can't, dude. There's only your body fat percentage can only get so high if your lifestyle consists of 3 days a week at least of resistance training, not even any cardio, just listening to your satiety signals, and just not eating sugar.
Mine was worse. I was told that in order to get big,
what'd you put in yours? Guinness? I'm sorry.
Yeah. I had mine was I had to have a drink during my training. So I had to have I used to have 50 grams of dextrose.
Me too. Yeah, specifically dextrose. I was doing the same thing. Sorry, go ahead.
2 scoops of amino acids with all the 9 I used to put there. I used to put other stuff in
which
there,
which makes
as well.
no sense.
And here was the thing: like I had to drink that during my session, and halfway during my session, I'd be getting sick. I'd be like, "Why am I getting sick?" And what I didn't realize, this was actually a meal replacement that I was having during my workout. Now, when you think about it, would you have, like, if I gave you, say, a McDonald's while you're running down the road, would you have it?
No, you wait until you're done with your run, and then you would eat your burger.
Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. So you're been told to have this magic shake during your workout, and you're completely full. And they're saying to you, okay, the minute you finish your workout, go out, get another shake with, like you said, oats, protein, banana, berries, peanut butter, and you're like, hang on a second, I'm full after just drinking a shake during my workout, and you want me to drink another shake, and your stomach is full of this crap, and then they're asking you to eat 2 hours later again. It's like, wow. And this is where the pressure comes from, because people are saying this to you and they're expecting you to do this because you're trying to achieve a goal, you're trying to achieve a look, and this is the way you should be done. And it's so misinformed information out there. It's just crazy misinformation, because as we mentioned, it's all about your gut. If your gut if your gut has not been healed. I know the funny thing is, when I was eating all this food, the guy that was training me, he was telling me, listen, take this will help you for digestion. Take this will take you for. So all I was doing.
Oh, that's a red flag. If you have to take something to digest your food, you're eating the wrong food.
Yeah. And all I was doing was spending money after money after money. And I was spending a fortune on supplements, and I wasn't spending a fortune on food.
Yeah.
And that's the issue. There's just. And then when I was taking all these digestive enzymes, they didn't actually fix the problem. I still actually had the problem there. The root of the problem was still there. It may have held for an hour or so, but after that hour, I felt like crap again.
Well, and it makes no common sense either. You and I both believe that a proper human diet, that as a species, human beings should be eating close to lions. Our diet should be basically the same as a lion. We have very similar digestive systems. We're both at the top of the food chain, right? Um, so you have a lion that's chasing, I don't know, a deer, because he's going to kill this deer and he's going to eat it, right? You give that lion doesn't need a workout supplement. He doesn't need dextrose halfway through his sprints. His, that lion's body makes perfectly good use of that of the sugars that are within the fatty acids, because they have a digestive tract that can break them down properly.
Yeah,
And we have all those same organs. So
exactly.
so if a lion doesn't need it, I'm just kind of there better be a really good reason as to why we need it, especially if you're selling it to me.
This is a message for all the haters on that are going to be listening to this.
Yeah.
It's very, very important, guys, that you understand, yes, when people say, but surely we need sugar or you're going to die. Yes, we do need sugar, but here's the caveat. The body produces all the sugar you need through a process,
Yes.
gluconeogenesis.
Yep.
That's how your body produces sugar. Now, if your body produces sugar, then why do we need to get it in our diet? It's as simple as that. Why do we need to get it from the carbohydrates? If our body is able to produce the sugar that we need through the liver, why do we need to get it in our diet? Why do we feel like we need to eat carbohydrates every single meal, every single day?
Instead of thinking as fat, the problem is we think of fat as fat. We hear the word and we're scared, right? But yet that's the most important thing that we should be eating. We'll die without it. We'll die without fat. We'll die without protein. Your health will significantly improve without carbs, though.
Yeah,
Really interesting. It happens every time. Think of, if you're listening, think of fatty animal foods as being like very, very complex forms of carbohydrates. So you have dextrose, which is sugar in its simplest and most toxic form. And then you have a sweet potato, which does much less damage to your body and it digests slower, right? Think of it like a ball of yarn. You can't use the entire ball of yarn at one time, and neither can your body, neither can your digestive system. And so you have to slowly unravel it. That's why it's a slower digesting, more long-lasting source of energy than just like straight up sugar. Fatty acids, same thing. You got to try this one. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but last night I called it buck belly because it's from the same part of the animal that you get pork belly from a pig. But instead of throwing away the fat like everybody else does off of the deer, I actually saved it and I just cooked it just like pork belly. And bro, it was bomb. If you ever get a chance to try it, you should totally do it. Yeah, just hot on a cast iron skillet, and so then all the fat that was still on the skillet, I just left it there and used that to sear the lean parts of the steak. So then so between that, the butter and the protein, I was able to nail my macros with just that.
Wait till you get this. I live in a country where people know nothing about carnivore. They know nothing. They might know a little bit about keto. But get this.
Yeah, pretty much everybody that I'm surrounded by here too, except for Leo, but that's because he's my client. I'm sorry, go ahead.
When I go to my local supermarket, right? Wait till you get this. They have ground beef, right? Now it has 5% fat, 10% fat, 12% fat, and 20% fat. Now the 5, 10, and 12, right, percent fat is around €7.50, right? Because it's it's a leaner source of meat. When you see the higher percentage of fat, guess how much it is?
How much?
It's only €2 and nobody buys it. Honestly, it's higher in fat, and every time I go up, it's so cheap and nobody picks it up off the shelf. The 5% is always gone, and the 10% is always gone because they're going after leaner sources of meat.
And
Your chicken,
because everything we've heard our entire lives from
yeah,
school and on TV and in college is that fat is bad. It's got 9 calories per gram. No, dude,
yeah,
that doesn't mean anything. Everything changes hormonally when you start eating fat, especially if it's bioavailable animal fats.
and
Yeah,
see the problem.
Taylor was telling me that Crystal Sykes, apparently she's eating like 3,000 calories a day. It's like there's not a lot of ladies that can do that, and
Yeah,
she's not a big lady. She's a small lady. She has muscles, but she's like I don't know. She's like your height, Taylor's height. Like she's not very tall, and
pretty, pretty,
and for her to put away that kind of food is because it's all fat. If
exactly.
she was eating carbs, she would blow up like a balloon because that's what happens to me.
Yeah, and see that's the issue. Like we demonize fats, but when you see people walking out of a shop with their trolleys, 95% of it is carbohydrate based or
Yeah,
process based. So it's like, okay, you're demonizing fat, but you're going to eat sugar. How does that make sense?
right.
Sugar's going to kill you a lot faster than fat will.
I'll I'll meet the skeptic halfway on that one though. If there is anything worse than sugar, seed oils.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
But yeah,
definitely. And the thing about seed oils is it's in every single food,
pretty
every
much.
food. So you can't pretty much get away from it. It's in everywhere,
Right.
and it's probably the. And when we look at the number one killer probably in the world at the moment, it's probably heart disease, obesity.
Yeah.
It's a big thing at the moment. You look at kids nowadays. They're getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's like, wow, how can we allow this to happen to our children?
Couple questions for you if you don't mind.
Go ahead, man.
Okay. How fast is too fast when losing weight? This is my client Fabio Henrique. He is from Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. And so communicating with this gentleman has been kind of a challenge because he speaks Portuguese, but English is he is learning English, and I know no Portuguese whatsoever. So Melina, our other Brazilian client, she speaks Portuguese, and so she's been kind of we've been kind of all three been working together. But after the first 2 weeks, he's down 22 pounds. That
Wow.
is that's averaging over a pound a day. So even if he's losing water, which of course he's losing some water, that's still like crazy fast. He's getting lean. His workouts are good. His strength is still there. He's struggling to finish his meals, and he's never ever hungry. Should we be concerned, do you think, about how fast this dude is losing weight?
It depends on how big he is. What's his weight at the moment?
He is 154.
Oh yeah, that's quite quick, Ari. If he was,
He went from 176 to 154 after 14 days of
wow.
removing carbohydrates from his diet. That's basically all we did. He's stuffing his face every day with as much protein,
Well,
as much fat as he can
but
eat.
no, that makes sense. If he removed all the carbohydrate, then I'd say that most of that weight that he's lost is water. It's not actual. It's not
It's
actual
got to
body.
be at least half of it. Yeah.
It's only water, so I wouldn't be concerned about it at all. I'd be concerned if it
Okay.
was body saying it's not possible unless you're a big guy. But if like we've seen it and we've seen it happen when you remove carbohydrates. This is the problem as well with people, and they don't understand about keto. Is people This is the reason why people don't do keto, because they think that by removing carbohydrates they're going to lose the weight, but the weight is going to come straight back on straight away. But you shouldn't put the carbohydrates back in again. But this is the issue why he's losing the weight very quickly, because he's after shedding a lot of water weight. So I say he was going to the toilet pretty much every day, probably 3 or 4 times a day, probably even more. So I wouldn't be concerned about that. Um, it's just about is basically his body's just readjusting. That's all that is. It's readjusting. He's removing all the water, and it's basically taking time now to adapt and get back to an original stage.
Good. That's what we that's what we think. And
Yeah,
so far so good then. Okay, we'll just keep taking it one day at a time and tracking everything real close.
yeah, I
Yep.
wouldn't be concerned. Definitely wouldn't be concerned about it.
Okay, good. Another question for you, sir, is How often do you ever have people do deloads or just full on rest weeks in your plan? My general strategy around that has just really been ever since I had my contest prep coach, and he always told me just do what you can, and whenever you feel like your body needs a break, then just listen to it, and then take 4 or 5 days off of the gym, and then just get back into it. And that was pretty much all I was ever taught, and that's pretty much all I've ever taught. And personally, I just really don't like taking more than 2 or 3 weeks, days off at a time. Whenever I do, I love bodybuilding. I love it. I love exercise, and if I go 2 or 3 days without lifting weights, I kind of start feeling depressed. And so this was actually my first time lifting weights. We played in a hockey tournament over the weekend. That was a blast. But I'm like, okay, I haven't done like a full on posing routine and like actually like done an actual hypertrophy workout in 5 or 6 days. Right. So that was today, despite having a couple injuries. And so I just decided to work around them and focus on lots of blood flow. But I'm just curious, in your your plans and in your own training, what do deload and rest periods look like for you?
Okay, so there's two ways you can look at this. You can use a deload and take a week off, or if you're still into the gym, you can still go to the gym, but just don't take things to failure. Just do higher reps. So there's two ways you can look at it. You can just go to the gym and just basically just mess about, just use the weights, and it's very, very important. You do not take things to failure. I think a deload is very, very important because you want to make sure you're giving your body the right amount of recovery time it needs to grow.
Mm-hmm.
When your body breaks down, your body's telling you, okay, listen, it's time to rest. I find that basically when I see someone's performance in the gym is lacking. So if someone comes to me, and I think we mentioned this at the start, and they're coming back to me and they're saying, Mark, I'm not enjoying my workouts anymore. My lifts have stalled. I'm not eating as much anymore. I'm not sleeping as much anymore. Bingo, you need a deload straight
Yeah.
away. No doubt about it. Now, when I do a deload, people might say, oh, but you're probably going to keep that person on low food, or you're going to keep that person on maintenance. No, on that deload, I'm actually going to increase the food. I'm actually going to increase it because they're
Oh, that was my other question for you. Okay, really? So you have them eat more on the deload weeks? Why?
100%, 100%, because their body's craving for it. But the body's craving for it. The body's breaking
Okay.
down. Body's breaking down. The body's telling you, listen, okay, listen, I can't do this anymore. So I need to reset that metabolism. How can I reset that metabolism? I need to give them more food. So I bulk up that food a lot every single day. So, and then when you explain to them the reasons why they need to do this, then they don't come back to you and say, oh, but I feel like I'm gaining weight. They understand that they press that reset button. And then when it comes to the end of the week, let's say we're back on a Monday, they're ready to rock and roll. They feel strong. They feel powerful. They're
Wow.
ready to rock and roll again. You will
Wow.
will not gain too much weight if you increase their foods a small bit on each day. It's impossible. It's impossible to gain weight in a week. Impossible. I don't care what anybody else says. You need to understand the client. If the client is drained and they're fatigued and they can't, their performance in the gym is lacking. If you're a good coach, you will pull them to the side and say, listen, okay, no more training. I just want you to walk every day. I want you to keep yourself active. I want you to increase your knee, but I'm going to increase your food.
Yeah.
I'm going to. I'm not going to increase the protein because at that time probably we're looking at about a pound per or 1 gram per pound. So that their protein is going to be okay. I'm going to be increasing the fat content. I want that energy up. You've got to remember, if their energy is low and they're fatigued in the gym, then what macronutrient needs to be increased to get their energy back up? It's not protein, it's fat.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
increase
100%. As long as those carbs are low too, you can definitely not freak out about storing that as body fat. You can get fat on carnivore. You can get fat on keto. I've just personally never seen it because practically it just doesn't happen. Like technically it is possible, but it that is not how it ever works.
I mean, think way. I don't know about you, but I've done
Like,
many.
have you ever seen a fat lion? No.
No, never.
Case
Never.
closed. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, do you ever? I mean, I know you enjoy the work. You enjoy working out, but I love going away on holidays with my family. Now, when I go away on holidays with my family, I don't do any gym, nothing. I don't do any gym, nothing. And that way, then when I come back, then I'm enjoying my holiday. I'm eating good food. When I come back, I'm raring to go to the gym. I cannot wait to go back into the gym. My mindset is switched on. I feel good. I feel strong. That first workout feels like, my God, I feel like an animal. I feel really, really good. So it's very, very important that you listen to your body. When your body is telling you, listen, it's time to rest. Take that rest. If you think you can train 365 days a year non-stop, well, then you are a machine. There's only a few people that can do that. Would I recommend that? Hell no. Hell no. You should be giving your body at least maybe 6 to 7 weeks a year of rest. A year. And that's if you're training really, really hard. If you're just going into the gym, acting the bollocks, and you're not training hard enough, then you can probably train every single day because you're not really doing anything. But if you're going into the gym and you're putting the work in and you're really, really tearing those fibers and you're trying to build as much muscle as possible and you're lifting as much weight as possible, you need to give your body those days to recover. Otherwise, you're going to break down, and that's when you need a deload.
Yeah. Yeah. Very, very good. Very, very well said. Thanks for that. Okay. So my workout today was I think it was the first one in about 5 days. So played hockey for a couple days and not quite a week. I knew I should have probably waited a couple more days, but here again I was just like, do you ever have somebody that you just can't keep out of the gym, pal, to where they, like, that they'll really miss it if you seriously tell them to take a week off and not touch a dumbbell for a week?
I mean, we only had this with a client of yours about a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not, if I can remember, I mean, we spoke to this person ourselves. She had a shoulder injury. We found out what she was doing. She was training every single day. I got on. We had
She was
a
also
chat.
doing behind the neck presses. We took that out of her plan. Lesson learned.
And if I'm correct, she was training every day. And I remember when I spoke to her that day, I said to her, "Okay."
She was training 6 days a week, but yeah.
Yeah, and I said to her, we're going to train less, and she got really, really upset. She didn't like it, but I said, in order for you to recover faster, you need to take those days off.
Yeah.
And she took those days off, and she came back a lot stronger.
Yep. And she learned her lesson, and I learned my lesson a year ago too. You got it. You got to take those rest times. You really do.
And to this day, I have actually watched this person very, very closely, and she is killing it in the gym. She looks better, looks stronger.
She's got a great attitude. She's getting more and more confident, like, every day.
Looks amazing. She looks amazing. Yeah. And when I spoke to her back then, you could see that the confidence wasn't there. You could see that she was fatigued. You could see she was tired. You could see she was doing too much. But now she's found that buzz again. Now she's found that enjoyment in the gym again.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So the injuries I was working around today were a torn hamstring, a torn hip adductor, and a sprained wrist. I don't know how the sprained wrist happened. The hip adductor and the hamstring, those were from explosive movements. That's basically just from starting to zero, the whistle blows, and then bam, going, crap, I just tore it, right? Like, I know exactly what it feels like. It's happened before. So I don't anticipate these injuries are probably going to linger around for more than a week. They still hurt, but they do feel a little bit better. Even doing like I was basically, my mindset today was just, let's just go into the gym and pick one exercise that feels good, stick with it, and just see where to go from there. So let's let the Holy Spirit lead me through my workout today. Like, that's basically where my head was at. And so I did all isolation moves, no compound moves, lots of isometrics too. So this took this took 45 minutes. So first exercise was standing side lateral raises in the sauna. because like my body's hurting, right? And so I want all my joints feeling good. I want them to get warm, get a little bit of a sweat. Was standing there with my back against the wall. I'm also writing a sauna workout plan for Sean too, and so like that's kind of the reason why I want to do it. I don't like to work out in the sauna, but some people do. And so I just kind of want to make sure like this is doable. This plan that I've been writing for him, that I'm going to send him after we're done with this. But basically, he's going to be doing the shoulder workout that you and I talked about on our Mind Inside Muscle masterclass. He's going to be doing basically that inside the sauna. So I'm in the sauna to start, and with a 10-pound dumbbell, as many reps as I can on the pump of my left side delt, and then as many as I can on the pump of my right side delt. So these are partial reps at the top, right? And then after failing on both of those, did as many with the full range of motion. So like a complete side lateral with my left arm, complete side lateral with my right arm, no breaks in between, for about 5 minutes. I'm just talking to other people, right? I'm not even really like, not even really doing a hard set yet, but it burns. And like, there's definitely an element of pain to it. So, good, hot and sweaty after that, about 5 minutes of it. And then did leaning side lateral raises with the cables. Reverse pec dex kneeling, like you taught me how to do it at Body Shop, where I was leaning forward into it, kind of with your face in the machine. So you got to remember to turn your hat backwards for that one if you're a hat person. Otherwise, it doesn't work. So did no tracking weights in this one, just 21 reps, and then bumped it up a little bit for 8 reps, and then heavy for a double, and then just stripped the entire stack. So then I got side delts done, rear delts done. Dumbbell standing front lateral raises. This was just a 5-minute set of alternating back and forth between left arm, right arm, using a 10-pound weight plate. And so then after that, I figured shoulders were good. Shoulders were fried. That was about 20-30 minutes of training so far. Machine drag curls. So I use that because of my sprained wrist, right? That's a move where, have you done drag curls on a Smith machine before?
Bicep curls, yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, that's a fun exercise, dude. Just like really, really juicy pump. And so just loaded it up with a bunch of 10-pound weights on each side, actually. And then just did about 8 reps with 125 pounds, and then racked it, took a 10 off. And so now it's at 115, 8 more reps, took another one off. And so now it's at 105, right? And then 8 more reps, and just did that for, I don't know, like 3 or 4 minutes straight. I found it to be wonderful for the pump of the biceps, but not so much for the stretch, right? I'm not going to do anything with my brachialis because there's no point, at least today. My wrist definitely hurt too much for that. So preacher curls, that was my stretch exercise for the biceps. Very, very lightweight and quarter reps on the bottom, right? So the first exercise, the purpose of it was for the pump and to work the entire biceps. Second exercise, I'm just finishing what the part of the biceps I hadn't really hit yet. After that was triangle press downs. I think that's what they're called. It's a triangle shaped attachment that you use for cable press downs with your triceps. Yeah, so I like to lean into that one a little bit and focus on the pump with it. So all my partial reps that I ever do with it are on the bottom, and so I'll still do full range reps, but it's not a particularly good stretch exercise. So I'm definitely taking advantage of the constant tension on that one. Here again, just did a couple warm up sets and then loaded it up for a heavy single, and then just stripped the entire stack. So basically one set. So I'm basically on every single exercise for 5 or 10 minutes with my mind focused on one muscle, and that is it. And there's not a single thing on the rest of the entire planet that exists unless it's like a family emergency, right? What I think Arnold Schwarzenegger, what was that story with Arnold Schwarzenegger? He was in the gym. This was in Pumping Iron. He was in the gym, and somebody offered him a role for a movie. And he said, "Call me back in 2 hours. I'm working out." It's like that's kind of what you, me, and Leo are like, right? So then, then this is a fun one. I finished off with one that you showed me at Body Shop again. So this one was perfect because using the ankle attachment on my wrist, man, that's great because then it just like I was able to totally work around my wrist injury. Danielle, the pro bodybuilder that I'm training in New Hampshire, I have her doing all the same stuff because she's also working around a wrist injury. So man, I did not realize how many different upper bodies you can do with an ankle cable attachment. That blew my mind. Like back day, everything. But yeah, anyway, for this exercise, just set it up for the single arm overhead tricep extension, because I'd already completely exhausted the pump of the triceps, and so then I was just focusing on the stretch there. So like a full rep, partial rep on the stretch, full rep, partial rep on the stretch. So I just went back and forth on that from arm to arm until they were both completely fatigued, and that took about 5 minutes. So the entire workout was about 45 minutes, and then for the torn hip adductor, I just did a set of like 21s for cable crossover hip adductions with those. I could have done seated hip adductions too, but I don't know. I like doing cables because I get a deeper range of motion and I'm able to focus on one muscle at a time. Posing practice was about 20 minutes afterwards. I figured that if you're going to do anything, especially if you're injured, if you're taking a deload week, posing, that is such an underrated type of isometric exercise. It really is. And if you don't believe me, then try posing with that. Then pose with someone that actually takes their posing seriously. That's a bodybuilder. If I could name one off the top of my head, Robert Sikes. So he holds all of his poses when he's on prep for 35 seconds. So Taylor, she's getting ready for her first show, and she coaches everybody with me. And so I don't know, she was just kind of coaching me, like almost kind of like when we were doing classes before. We do all of our posing one-on-one anymore because everybody's in different time zones, and so an actual class just isn't practical anymore. But I was holding all my poses for 20 seconds, and the reason I can hold them for 20 seconds in there is because the last time I was in there, Robert Sikes and I were posing together, because that's when he stopped by here on his way to go get his WNBF card. This is right before he became a WNBF pro. We're working out in Yellowstone Fitness, and this dude is holding his poses for 35 seconds each. And here I am, a posing coach. That's like probably the best thing that I coach people on contest prep is posing. And this dude is posing circles around me, man. And ever since that day, I'm like, wow, okay, why am I not doing this more? This, like, it's practice. It's making me better for being on stage. It's making me a better coach. It's making me better at photo shoots. It's not lifting. It's a lot more fun than lifting, actually. It's a great way to get blood in the muscle in your muscle bellies and hold them there. It's great conditioning. It is a wonderful, very underrated type of exercise. And to put a cherry on top of all that, it's actually pretty good cardio too. I was huffing and puffing the entire time, and I always am when I'm posing. You can really hear it on the back poses. As soon as I know I don't have to smile and the judges aren't looking at me, that's when we start huffing and puffing, and when you don't have to smile. That was it. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to add, not only that, but the connection you get on your muscles when you're posing is just, it's completely different to what you get in the gym.
Oh yeah, dude. It's just like going carnivore. Like you just relearn your entire body in a way that you never really understood it before. Like that's what happens when you go to the carnivore diet, when you never look back. The same thing happens when you learn how to pose and when you get good at posing too. You're like, wow, okay, this is a lot different than using these muscles for anything functional at all. to be able to move your muscles on command without making them do something functional is a skill that is totally worth it.
Absolutely, because I always say this to clients. I always say, in order for you to do a movement in the gym, you need to do some sort of pose before you actually do that movement. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I just don't do it because I feel like a douchebag. I'm the only bodybuilder at Yellowstone Fitness, so I do all my posing in the posing room afterwards.
No, but I mean,
but you're right.
Let's say you're doing a pull down. We know when we do a pull down, you have to arch the back. You need to literally engage the lats, open up the lats, and then drive the elbow. So it's like you don't just walk into the gym and you do a pull down and you're nice and relaxed, like you're hunched over and you pull the bar down to your chest. You need to be in a position. You need to literally push the shoulders back, chest up, get those lats engaged, and then pull the bar down. So it's all about that connecting. So I found when I did the pose, and I was like, wow, I can actually put this into my workouts. So when let's say I'm doing a lat spread,
love it.
Let's say I'm doing a row, I can say, right, okay, Colt is telling me to do a lat.
I think your lat spread is probably your best pose too. Sorry, just for the record.
Yeah, and it was because when I got into that lat spread and I grabbed the bar, I was like, before I even lifted that bar, I was like, okay, I can feel my lats engaged because I have them in
Yeah,
the,
well, you can see that triangular shape. You're like, these things are freaking huge. I know how to do this. That's
yeah,
different if you've never really done posing before and you don't really know like where your lats tie in, how they're shaped. It's different for everybody.
yeah, and 100%. It's definitely underrated. I think anybody that is serious about building muscle, don't forget your posing. Your posing is probably the cherry on the top on top of the cake.
Yeah. Yep.
Definitely.
Very, very good. And then eyes were closed the entire time too, just like we were talking about on our Mind Inside Muscle class, Mind Inside Muscle masterclass. I feel like as a musician, when you close your eyes, it's like you see sounds that you couldn't hear before. You're just
Mhm.
so much more aware of what is happening in the music, and you catch up and you catch so many subtleties that you weren't aware of before. Bodybuilding,
Definitely.
it's the same thing. And that's why I believe bodybuilding is an art more than a sport. Man, when you're in the zone, when you're in the gym, and you're doing reverse pec decks, all right, you're thinking about the shape of that rear deltoid. You're thinking about being on stage and the purpose of that rear deltoid. What is it there for? It's to make your shoulder look rounder so that it's big, so that it's bigger from the side. That helps you give the illusion of a bit of a larger upper body and a smaller waist. This is all stuff that I'm thinking about when I'm training, right? Um, Victor Wooten, one of my favorite bass players. I've been studying him a lot lately. He has a lot of great master classes on YouTube where he talks about this philosophy a lot. But every time that you pick up your musical instrument, you should be playing music. You shouldn't be just doing you shouldn't be just practicing. That was a big mistake that I made in college. I wanted to be the best. I wanted to be the most talented musician, but I never really had the creativity that a lot of the other um, staff and musicians and students in the jazz department that they had. I never really had that kind of creativity, so I've been working in my own playing lately to develop more of that creativity. And I think the same attitude needs to apply in the gym too. When you're working out, you're not you're creating art. You're creating something. That is a creative activity. Okay. So what is the purpose of the exercise that you're doing? It better be to change the way or the shape or the health of your body in one way or another. And you better know exactly what the purpose of that exercise is. And if you're not and if you don't, then I think you're wasting your time. It would be like just blindly playing scales with no musicality whatsoever. Is there a time and a place for that? Yeah, okay, sometimes. But at the end of the day, every time you pick up that instrument, you should be making music with it, and it should be artwork. I think it should be the same thing in the gym. When you go into the gym, you don't see a bunch of machines. You don't have a workout plan. You don't even necessarily always have an agenda of all the sets and reps that you're going to do in your head. Every workout's different. Sometimes it takes me 5 or 10 minutes of just having my mind inside the muscle and just listening to some good music and feeling what's working, what's hurting, um, and then posing in between sets as I can, or thinking about my last posing session. Go, okay, how's my balance looking right now? What could I pose differently? What needs to be developed differently? But it's all art at the end of the day.
Yeah, 100%. Well said. It's just like you said, just go into the gym. Don't overthink it. Don't think about who's in the gym. Just go in there, do what you do, and that's it.
And that is it for this week's session, everybody. Thanks a lot for listening, and make sure to let us know what you thought. You can do that directly from your podcast app or DM Mark or myself on Instagram. You can also email your feedback, questions for us, and more specific topics you'd like us to teach on next. Thanks a lot for the questions that you sent in today, too, by the way, guys. Really appreciate it. Hope it helped. Let us know if it did. TikTok. If you are on TikTok, so are we. We are totally over there at Carnivore Coaches Corner. We are throwing out bite-sized carnivore tips from top nutritionists and coaches and from athletes that are putting into practice what we preach on this channel. We are also showing lots of meal prep, cooking tips, and budgeting hacks. Lately, too, we are also calling out, aka busting bad coaches that spread misinformation. So warning, if you are a bad online coach making money off of people that don't know any better because you're spreading misinformation, we're going to call you out. We do that on TikTok. If you need some gym motivation, look no further than our workout podcast called the SupersetYourLife.com podcast. We are well over 200 episodes on that channel, and it's available on the same platform that you're listening to now. Just type Superset Your Life, all one word, into your search bar, and you will see our black and white podcast logo pop up. And actually, the one that Coach Mark and I were referring to earlier on this session was the Mind Inside Muscle Masterclass, and that was recently published on the SupersetYourLife.com podcast. It is also on our YouTube channel, which is Skullbellz TV, SKULLBELLZ. It is a podcast specifically recorded to listen to while you work out. We regularly interview professional bodybuilders and judges, top nutritionists, leadership experts, stand-up comedians, and top athletes from SupersetYourLife.com. And over there, we keep the focus on health-first bodybuilding, faith, and family. My wife Taylor and I are the hosts of that show as of 3 years and growing, and Coach Mark Ennis has been an absolutely enormous part of everything that we do over there as well. Mark and I are both on Instagram and offer private one-on-one consultations as well as coaching services. Links to scheduled coaching calls can be found on our Instagram bios or in the show notes of this podcast. And one last reminder before we sign off, leaving a review only takes like 10 seconds. So if you are on Spotify, where you can see in the show notes, right below that, it says Q&A, and bam, just like that, you can tell us what you think. We will always respond when we record the following week, either by reading your review out loud or by discussing the topic that you'd like to know more about, or even by getting to work on whatever critiques that you have about how we can continue to improve this show. And that's how we communicate back and forth as a dialogue, not a monologue, in this intimate conversation that we call Carnivore Coach's Corner. Share this with a friend if you found it helpful, and we'll catch you next week on session number 40. Later, guys.